getting home. It's been one of those 3 weeks. Yeah. No. Did you see Cha Cha Real Smooth? Yes.
Hey Ryan, long time no see.
Well, yeah.
Right. We're let's really quick. It's been a long 3 weeks for you. You said it's been a long day for me. Let's talk about a couple of movies that are coming out tomorrow for us.
Yeah.
The first one is a family film from Disney Pixar, Lightyear, the origin story of one William J. Buzz Lightyear. I made that name up.
Sort of.
Yeah, right. Yes, Buzz Lightyear from the Toy Story franchise. A lot of people going in might have been asking why we needed this movie. Is that a fair enough assessment?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Some people might ask why we needed Toy Story 4.
I'm in the camp that actually was okay with Toy Story 4. So
I was okay, except that it made me cry at the beginning and at the end.
Yeah,
I was not happy about that too much. But so so we get a not Toy Story movie sort of. But I think they justified its existence very well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there's obviously been some chatter about how everyone thought we were getting a certain film, and that didn't turn out to be the film we thought, in the sense that, I mean, they put something, some text up on the screen at the very beginning.
Yep.
That tells you exactly what the film is, and you go, well, why couldn't they have just said that a year and a half ago?
Yeah, that made it totally okay for me.
It makes it so. Essentially, I mean, the setup of this film is essentially when Andy was a little kid, he saw this movie in a theater, and it inspired him to get the toy and play with it.
Yep.
So this is his Star Wars. When I saw Star Wars as a kid, I got the toys and I went out and started doing my own stories with the toys. So that's essentially what this movie is. It almost has absolutely nothing to do with Toy Story, other than some of the characters that appear in it are obviously also in Toy Story.
Yes, 2 to be precise.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's like I said, that once they explained it, I was like, oh, I'm totally okay with this film. I get it. I mean, I wasn't down on it going in, but I'm like, nope, I've bought in. You've got me. Everything else works at this point.
There was a direct-to-video release that followed I think it was the first film that was a Buzz Lightyear direct-to-video sort of thing that really was not good. That felt like, I mean, it was more of a traditional animation looking thing. And maybe I shouldn't say that. It's been forever since I watched it, but that felt like a cash in. This, not so much. This, I mean, yes, to a certain extent. I mean, this could have been a film that wasn't about Buzz Lightyear. It could have been just about a different space guy.
Right.
And it would have worked just fine, but obviously there's an established market for Toy Story films and Pixar and whatnot. So I guess financially it makes sense, and it doesn't really cheapen the film. But this isn't exactly the Buzz that you're used to, but it's also not the Buzz that you're used. You know, I mean, I don't know.
It's not the Buzz you know, but it's not the Buzz you know.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the one thing that I enjoyed once they explained the film at the beginning, and what, you know, that this is the movie that spawned the toy, as opposed to, say, the Transformers, which is a toy that spawned a movie, and TV shows, you know, and Battleship, toy that spawned a movie. You know, pick them up. You know, I'm waiting for Mousetrap, the movie, really, at this point. But
I don't think Battleship qualifies as a movie. I think Battleship was. Never mind. We won't go.
Don't get me started. Don't go there. But no. So I watched the film. Then, you know, like, say, okay, I was in, but then I thought this actually becomes a really, if you're a cynical old man like me, it really becomes this kind of meta exercise in product breakdown, because in this film, because, you know, like in Transformers, you see all the things that were in the toys and they get blown up for the film. And in this, I spent a lot, or I didn't spend a lot of time, but I noticed there were parts where I was just like, I can see how that got dumbed down into the toy that we know, and how that got dumbed down into the toy we know, because that's how it works. You know, that Star Wars, the movie came out, and then the merchandise gets simplified down for toys. And so it was this weird reverse exercise in product development to watch Lightyear in a lot of ways, where you see, and that's why it's not the Buzz that you know, because you see all of those things, but you see how they started instead of how they ended up in the toy.
And there would be some people who would suggest that having Chris Evans voice this Buzz Lightyear is going to the A-list, whereas Tim Allen maybe not A-list, and that also kind of follows, you know, the toy sort of thing.
Well, here's the thing. Let's remember that when Toy Story came out, Tim Allen was A-list.
He was much bigger then,
right?
It's revisionist history, yeah.
But I agree with, I think, where you're going, in that now, you know, the A-list star is not gonna. He doesn't record the voice for the video game or the toy. They get a sound alike or a sound similar, and so it's like, so even that replacement didn't bother me. To have Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear as opposed to Tim Allen, it's like, no, it again, if you just kind of back up a little bit, you can make that make sense in your head, and it's not really a stretch. It might be cynical, but it's not a stretch.
Well, and you know, but if you want to talk marketing, I think that this film has the new Baby Yoda.
Yes, and if there is no merchandise for Socks the cat,
don't you worry, there is. I've seen some of it. So,
well, my wife will be very upset if she cannot have a Socks. That is all I know.
Here's the problem: we're at a point. Socks is a cat that is given to Buzz Lightyear to keep him company, basically.
Yes, it's a robot cat.
He has issues making friends, and his one friend in the whole wide world knows this and gives him a cat that pretty much likes him. Yep. There's a little bit of question there, but anyway, so the cat is the cutest thing ever ish. And we're at a point in technology where you could almost actually make that cat.
Yep.
And so there is that part of me that's like, well, I don't want the toy. I want the real thing. Give me a toy.
Right.
I want Socks.
I know. Beep boop, anyway. Beep boop, beep boop.
Yes.
That was it's hilarious. This is terrifying. I regret having accompanied you. Mm-hmm. It's so great, but no, you're right. This could have just been done as a generic animated science fiction film, and it would have been good. But the fact that they tie it to the Toy Story franchise, of course, it raises the floor on it. So it starts at a higher level because of that tie-in. And I think that it's a money grab in a lot of ways, but it works. I'm not disappointed with how they did it. I'm not disappointed with how it turned out. So, surprising.
I have a take on this.
Please, that's why we're here.
Yeah, it's kind of an unusual film in that it doesn't really give you any background into Space Command or even really into Buzz that much. It almost to me feels like it's a sequel. Like Andy caught Empire Strikes Back or Andy saw Return of the Jedi. Rather than seeing the first film. It almost to me feels like just the character arc of it feels very much like the end film of a trilogy.
I would say middle, maybe the end, but you're right. What's funny is that Buzz Lightyear is not even in charge of Stark or the Space Rangers.
No,
he's not the highest ranking Space Ranger. His friend is. She's in charge of him, and I love that he hates rookies. I just thought that was so great. That is every military person ever hates the new guy because the new guy is an idiot and does nothing but cause problems, which in a lot of ways this rookie does. But in the end, Buzz blames himself for what is happening and what has happened. So, but yeah, I can see the argument where this would be a sequel. This could be, Lightyear 2 in Andy's universe. There could have been something before, or there could have been a TV show and then they made a movie.
Something, yeah. There's a lot of the story that just, if you're going in expecting to really understand the mechanics of the world, or even really, Buzz to a certain extent, it's not there. Not to say that there aren't some emotional moments, because there are, but it's not quite a big dumb action movie, but it's not really on the emotional level of the Toy Story films. So it's kind of this.
Yeah, they don't go for the tear jerking. In it, they like I said, Toy Story 4 I hate because they made me cry at the beginning and at the end of that film. This one, there are no moments like that in here. You might get an awe occasionally in a couple spots, but really there's no tear jerky moments in this one, and I think that's a good thing for what this film is. I think that was the smart way to go. This one doesn't really need all of that. And so I think that worked out really nice. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think the thing there is there are a lot of us who were Andy. We that connected with Andy and his relationship with toys.
Right.
I don't think any of us have really been Buzz Lightyear. So, it would have been a really more difficult thing to get us emotionally involved with Buzz Lightyear in the way that this film is done.
Yeah, it would have been more difficult, or it would have been difficult to try to do that, because even in the Toy Story films, he wasn't really emotional.
No, he's not the heart and soul.
No, so but no, I thought it was good. I would like to point out the Captain America parallels in that Chris Evans is playing the hero who continually doesn't age while everyone around him grows old and dies while he's trying to save the world.
Yeah.
So that parallel is there.
Not inaccurate.
But no, I said I was of the mind that so many people had, which was, why do we need this and what is it? But like I said, I think they explained it in those title cards right off the bat, and it's like, oh, well, now that makes perfect sense. And then you just, like I said, then I was excited to watch the movie from that kind of 30,000 foot level and see how that became the Buzz that we already knew. and
Sure.
I was okay with it. It totally worked for me. So I think the kids are going to like it. I think the parents won't be upset about having to see it. There's enough there, I think, to keep everyone entertained.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it up for an Oscar at the end of the year, but
No.
I would put it in the category of I'll watch it again. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's weird. It's the worst of the Toy Story movies. But to be fair, the Toy Story movies are awesome. So, it's a thing. But yeah, no, it's definitely I don't think it should be up for best animated feature. I'm not sure what else we're going to have.
Yeah, I mean, this is on par with The Bad Guys, which I really quite liked.
I might say that I like that one more than this one, but not a ton more. Not a ton more.
Yeah.
But if I had to rank them, I would probably watch The Bad Guys again, just because it was new, and I like that animation style. Now, the animation in this is different from the Toy Story films, even the later Toy Story films. It is a much more realistic or visceral. They create, I think, like lusher environments without getting too real, because the characters are still clearly not real people.
Sure, and it takes place on another planet where there's a lot of weird stuff that happens. So,
but the animation is definitely Pixar quality.
Yeah,
but it's also, I think, slightly a step up from some of the other ones. His supporting cast is his team members. Keke Palmer is the granddaughter of his best friend that he eventually works with, and I have to mention Taika Waititi plays Taika Waititi, and that's really starting to bother me. It's very much like Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds, and I think I'd rather watch Ryan Reynolds play Ryan Reynolds at this point. I don't know. I like Taika. I don't know why it's starting to bother me. It's just like, oh, we're getting this character again, and it's bothering me, and I don't know that I like that. It's bothersome.
Well, it is. I didn't mind him in this, but it is problematic when you have an actor in an animated film and you instantly think of the actor rather than the character. There's something, or even him in movies, I guess, to a certain extent now, because he's doing his thing.
Right.
And you know that it's him. And so in a way that kind of destroys part of the illusion of cinema.
Yeah.
He's the guy sitting on the couch with Thor. He's the, there's a certain negative kind of part of being that recognizable.
Yeah. Well, and he doesn't even try to hide it, but like, it doesn't ruin the movie at all. So I'll still tell people to go see it. I still think it's better than a lot of things that come out of Hollywood still. But like I said, it's the worst Toy Story, but that's not really a knock against it, being that the Toy Story movies are so good. I'm probably in the pushing 8. I mean, as much as I hate, or not as much as I hate, but as much as Taika bothers me, I still really, really enjoyed this. I think it looks really good. I think it explains its existence, which is half of any film, and so it works for me. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I'm like an 8 on it. I don't know where you fell necessarily.
I'm closer to a 7, but again, that's not like low.
Yeah, it's not low at all. So let's talk about a different movie though, that's also coming out tomorrow on Apple TV Plus, right?
And limited theaters as well.
Limited theater release. Cha-Cha Real Smooth. I believe this. I want to say this was a Sundance film, but I could be wrong.
Right.
So
that is where I first saw it.
Yeah. Written and directed by Cooper Raiff. With the Dakota Johnson and Evan Asante. This is weird. This is like, it's not weird. It's just weird to try to explain this movie. So you saw it at Sundance. Kind of throw a synopsis out there and kind of tell me what the audience thought.
Well, it got the audience award. It won. It was the big audience choice winner of the feature films. But I guess, I guess I've seen it twice, and I got to talk to the cast briefly last week, and Dakota kind of summed up the movie, I think, in a great way. And that wasn't, we were just talking about her character, but this is a movie about people who want to be good, but keep making bad decisions. They keep them from being the good person that they want to be. At least that's the two main characters are both, and deep inside both of them, you believe are actually good people.
Mm-hmm.
They just keep getting in the way of themselves and doing things that derail, their lives in ways. Dakota's character is a woman who had a child at a very young age, who has yet to really grow up in a lot of ways. But that said, she's also a great mother. Her daughter's autistic, and the way that they interact is really quite beautiful. So then it's bizarre when you see how dysfunctional a lot of her other relationships are, because that one is so solid, where you would think that maybe that would be the most difficult of all the relationships she has, but it's not. And then you have a guy who basically doesn't know what he wants to do with his life, and is working at a fast food restaurant, and has charisma, and that kind of helps him skate by a little bit, but he's also pretty self-destructive. And that kind of, holds him back as well. I don't know. This is kind of a romantic comedy. It's a little more realistic than I think most people would think for a romantic comedy. The relationships there's an awkwardness. There are some great moments of chemistry, but I think you just want these people not necessarily to be together, but you want them to, straighten themselves out, because they're people you like, but man, they keep screwing up, and they do things, and you're just like, oh, this is crazy. You were doing so well, and then you did this, or anything along those lines. But I really actually I didn't want to see this film initially, and I couldn't tell you why. But I saw it, and then I really liked it. And then I kind of didn't think about it until last minute. They say, "Hey, do you want to jump in and do an interview?" And I thought, well, I vaguely think I think I liked it at Sundance. So I sat down and watched it, and it was like, yeah, I not only did I like it at Sundance, I really like it right now. But yes, it's an art house film. It's a little quirky, a little vulgar. There's some crazy bar mitzvah activity going on throughout the film. But also, Lola, who's the autistic girl, I love. They have an autistic actress, Vanessa, playing the character, and it is such a good performance, and people will be like, well, how is it a performance? She's just playing an autistic kid. To which I would fire back. You put a camera on a regular person, and it doesn't necessarily make them feel like a natural. Some people are good actors, and some people aren't. And she happens to be a really good actor who
happens to have autism, yeah.
And she does just tremendous work in this, almost to the point where I'm like, I'd rather see the movie from her point of view. That to me is the film that maybe hopefully gets made somewhere down the road. That's not this film, but you get little bits of kind of her world, and it's really interesting to me to see that. But performance-wise, I really like this film. I think it's got some funny stuff. It's got some not so funny stuff.
Yes.
There's
there's a little darkness there.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's because you have characters that are self-destructive.
Well, and life is messy.
Yeah. Very messy.
And life is very messy. So it's interesting from that aspect, because literally I don't think anyone in this movie is not damaged. He's got his issues. She's got her issues. Her daughter's got issues. His younger brother, his mom has issues.
Oh yeah. I mean, his mom's kind of, no, you're right. She's got her own thing. Yeah, no,
right.
They're all. Stepdad might, but stepdad's thrown in the middle of everything, and so that's kind of messed up anyway.
If anything, his issue is that he is like hyper normative.
Yeah,
he's like very conventional. Maybe that's his weakness. I don't, you know what I mean? He's too normal in a lot of ways, but he's really not. And there are flashes of that, and that's Brad Garrett, and he's really, I don't want to say surprising. He's got limited screen time, but he's very present when he's on screen.
Oh yeah,
which is nice.
Which is, I mean, a lot of it has to do with the dialogue that he's given and the things that he says, and you're like, ooh, okay. Which, I mean, that's how he's written, and it's. I mean, look, I don't know if you like this film, but for me, it's different enough and familiar enough for me to enjoy. I can connect with it and also be kind of watching as an outsider for both the autistic elements, the Jewish bar mitzvahs. Like I think I always knew what a bar mitzvah was. But I had no idea, at least like in a modern sense, of what actually happened. And so I found that to be fascinating, because it's kind of like a church dance where the parents can get drunk. I don't know, and there's the hype person who's running around making sure everyone's having a good time. It's chaotic and it's weird and it's interesting. They don't over-explain it. They just kind of drop you in there and go, "Hey, swim." There you go.
Yeah, let me surprise you. I did like this movie. But I think I like it because it's so messy. And it's not a perfect film. The characters are messy. The situations are messy. Sometimes it feels like it was messily put together, but that could have been intentional. But yeah, no, I get why the audiences at Sundance liked it, and probably why it won, audience award for features. But it is not going to be for everyone. This is the closest comparison recently in feel, maybe in that way, is like Licorice Pizza.
But better.
Oh yeah, way better than Licorice Pizza. But you know what?
Licorice Pizza has, anyway. We won't go into that, but this is a little more grounded than that.
Yes,
the relationship, the romance. There's sort of the awkwardness of it is there, but I think this is, for me. I think this is far better than Licorice Pizza.
Oh yeah, but it's got that same it's just off. Every single thing about it is off, but in this case, it works together so much better than Licorice Pizza did. So if you already like Licorice Pizza, you'll probably love this.
Or you'll be like, this is not elevated enough.
Or it's not elevated enough. I don't know. But I'd be interested to see what an actual general audience feels like. I'd be interested to see what the reviews and any box office. It's going to be limited, so it's going to be a low box office. But you always get those per screen averages, so I'll be interested to see how that stacks up. Because it's definitely worth seeing.
I mean, and it is R-rated. It's got some language. It's got but it's not excessively R-rated outside of the language, and that's kind of
except for that one scene.
Well,
yeah, you're good. You can, that one. You know what scene?
I know what scene. Absolutely, I know
it. But yeah, no, it's 100%. But it is. It's definitely rated R. So yeah, some people might be put off by that. I would tell people just suck it up and see it. If you want to see interesting characters in interesting and messy situations.
And I would say just know that there are going to be moments where you're like, oh, I don't know about this. Just stay with it. Just stay with it to the end, and you'll I think be happy that you did. Is it a Hollywood ending?
No.
Maybe in a way, but not the one that Hollywood writes. So,
well, that's probably
I like that. Anyway,
yeah. And let's. I will do this again because we always say this. This is on Apple TV Plus.
Mm-hmm.
We are not sponsored by Apple TV Plus, though sometimes it feels like we are. It feels like we shill for Apple TV Plus, but again, it's just because they curate so well.
Well, and this was one I think they picked up. This is not homegrown, so there's that as well. They know how to pick them as well. But
yeah,
but I kind of, as a side note, which is strange, is at my job I get all sorts of crazy emails from people, and they're always like, "We are going to rate the streaming services based on Academy Award versus ratio or whatever." And I had a real laugh this week because they had ranked Apple TV Plus as the lowest of basically all the streaming services, and it was like 0 Academy Awards, and I was like, that's kind of funny because I think Coda just won.
Yeah.
So I don't know how accurate this research company is. They might want to figure out, where they're getting their numbers from, and maybe try again. But for me, okay, Apple TV doesn't have a ton, but what it has is great. And for me, that's wonderful. So there you go. That's all I have to do.
There you go.
They've done some great stuff.
Yes, they have. So that is 2 films that are coming out tomorrow, Friday, June 17th. So Lightyear, Cha Cha Real Smooth. Cha Cha Real Smooth is limited release, so you'll have to look for it if you want to watch it. Otherwise, get Apple TV Plus and you can watch it there. Lightyear will be everywhere. Fear not, it will be everywhere. Go and see it. It's a fun little animated sci-fi diversion.
Yeah. Two actually. I think Cha Cha Real Smooth is a better film, but both are really entertaining films this week.
Yep. Next week, man, I don't even know what's coming out next week. I know what there's a screener for, but I don't know what its release date is.
Yeah, you got the Black Phone.
The Black Phone, Ethan Hawke, psychological thriller / horror looking.
Slash happy / coming of age drama.
Yep, there you go.
Whole lot of heart in it. A shocking amount of heart. A brother and sister friendship that is pretty darn neat. Let's put it that way.
Okay, there you go. So we'll see if we can talk about that one. But until we do get back to you with something, if it's not the Black Phone, it will be something. We do still have a list of things we would love to talk about when we both get time at the same time. But until we get to those, don't forget to like us, follow us on social media at VS Movie Podcast. You know how that works. Subscribe over on YouTube, Visually Stunning Movie Podcast, if you'd like as well. And until we talk to you again, I'm Mark. That is Ryan. Bye, Ryan.
See you guys.
And we will talk to you all later.